exterminated. The rats? Filthy, disgusting, disease-ridden rats, and I can't tolerate even the thought of them. They have to be gotten rid of, the sooner the better. Top to bottom.
Yes, that is exactly what should be done. But you must give me some time, please, Hammy.
Time for what? Just kill the rats. Do you understand? Kill those rats!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. All about bubblegum.
You want answers? I think I told you. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Hello everyone, I'm Sean Sims, your host of the Outsiders podcast. The Outsiders podcast, growing viewership. We're reaching what? 10, 15, 20, 30,000 views for Baltimore podcast. Not too shabby. So the Outsiders we have some serious business that we're going to handle today. Republicans, massive mistake, error in judgment. Racism, yes, by the Republican Party. I do not like bringing it out, but I have to bring it out today, and you're going to hear about it. My special co-host, Doc Cheatham, he's going to be coming up in a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play an interview. And this was on iHeartRadio. It was out yesterday with Mary Hughes. Mary Hughes is the president of Friends of Gwynn Falls Parkway, a community association. And I'm gonna play this. Her husband was part of the state legislature. And I'm gonna play this interview, and then we're gonna get to Doc. Let me cue it up. Here we go.
And people just being treated any other kind of way. And her name was Mary Hughes. Everyone knows Mary Hughes. Welcome to the Outsiders. And that's just a special interview I'm having with you. Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you. Such a pleasure, Sean. What I wanted to do is because, I mean, back in the 50s and the 60s, the black folks were really fighting. I mean, through legislation, you had Malcolm X, you had Dr. Martin Luther King, you had Edward Edwards, you had all these civil rights folks who were fighting for our right to have our civil rights, due process, and to live our lives as American citizens equal to every other American citizen, no matter what race, creed, or color. What do you think of when you hear the things that are going on with people being denied, black folks being denied their due process and civil rights? I really think, Sean, it's up ahead. We have a complete nut in the White House, and this gentleman is doing everything he can to turn back the time. And he wants to make America great, to really mean that we as black people know the code, make America white. And when you make America white, that means going back to situations where you disregard any legal type representation that is fair to a person of color. And that's what it's all about. Keep them in their place, keep them down. I mean, we will not give them the privilege of having the law work on their side. We will take it from them, or we will do whatever we can to put a pin in it or it won't work. And obviously that was happening during the 50s, all way before that. But then you had people the Lord raised up and said, oh no, this is not what I do. But now because racism, all of this hatred had never died, it was just sleeping. And so when you got someone in the White House that basically launch a fight. How can they deny someone due process? And who's denying it? Most of the white folks. They're in charge. They're making these decisions. They're playing games, saying that, won't you dismiss this and you weren't there and you should have done this. No, no, no. You deliberately tried to have the system to your advantage, or you could put us down as a people. And Sean, I think you have to share with them what's going on now with this due process pertaining to your wife. Well, I'm going to share this, and I want to let everyone know, because there's going to be a whole lot of light shed. There's going to be a giant spotlight, if you will, shed on the issue. And we had a termination grievance hearing with our attorney as my wife's representative, and we did not receive any information in regards to where the grievance hearing, termination grievance hearing, wrongful termination grievance hearing was going to take place. And also, there was nothing sent out. Our attorney, when we were waiting to get into the hearing, waiting to get the information, which he never received. My wife never received. And here's the thing. Normally what had happened, and I have the receipts. Everything I say, people, everybody knows me. Everybody who knows me knows when I say something, I have the receipts. So in previous grievance hearings, I have the receipts where the information is sent, a team meeting, it has the time, it has the date, it has the phone number to call it, it has the ID to type in once you call in the phone. All of that is given each and every time, except for this grievance hearing that was scheduled for June the 3rd, yesterday, at 1 p.m. And deliberately, all this was deliberate, and we know it. And deliberately. So here's the thing. Our attorney emailed, and now her name is Deborah Burch. Deborah Burch is the clerk of the court for St. Mary's County. She was listed as being the conference officer. She had multiple exchanges, email exchanges, with our attorney, and so he thought it was not an issue at all, okay, to make the request about 45 minutes or so prior to the 1 o'clock hearing to receive the information, the team meeting, information, phone number, etc., for the hearing. He did not receive it, but he did receive at 1:28 an email from this clerk, Deborah Burch, St. Mary's County, that said it's been dismissed. Your grievance has been dismissed because basically he didn't get in on the call for the meeting. Now this is the type of tactics. These are the type of tactics that were used in the 40s, 50s, 60s throughout against black people, against black folks, to deny them due process and their civil rights. That's what has happened. That's right, that's right. But you know what, Sean, here's the deal. They don't think that anybody's going to challenge them. And this is good on their part because they think we're going to lie down and just take anything. And they shouldn't feel that way simply because of history of us fighting this oppression, this racism. Yeah. We never laid down to just let them do what they want to do. So, but right now, I think they're so comfortable that they feel we can do what we want to do, but they have a rude awakening. You cannot do that. It's not going to happen. And we will fight in every instance that we will fight, and we will win. Because this is just blatant racism. This is blatant hatred. That's all it is. And your wife or anybody in a situation like this or other situations they're going through have done nothing more than be born black. That's it. And we feel that we're on attack because of the color of our skin. They want to go back to that. They don't care about us. And it's nothing to do with Republican. It's nothing to do with Democrat, because there's some Democrats I would put in the same category. They don't care. They don't care what's happening. to do with the name, dear. They're going to do what you let them do. Exactly. Exactly. And here's the thing. This Deborah Burch, who denied access to the grievance hearing, termination grievance hearing, wrongful termination grievance hearing, she is a Republican. She's listed as a Republican, and I thought to myself, you know what, I just had not too long ago, a few months ago, a meeting with the Baltimore City Republican Party, and I met with them. I'm friends with Christopher Anderson, who's also a black gentleman who is a Republican. I am a registered Republican, full disclosure. However, I'm not a robot. I know what's right, I know what's wrong. And if you do something that's wrong, I'm going to vote against you. If you do what's right, I'm going to vote for you. If people don't agree with me, fine. That's life. That's how that works. But when it comes to someone just blatantly stripping the civil rights and due process from a former employee who was terminated because she blew the whistle that there are rats in the building, that there's asbestos in the building, there's safety health issues in the Mitchell building of the circuit court. And she had the audacity to stand up for herself and get that information out. And she also blew the whistle on some other things that are going on as well within that circuit court for Baltimore City. So she was punished, and then Deborah Burch decided, I am going to stop this black woman, and I don't use the race card. Anyone that knows me, I don't do that. I don't go there. But I have to bring this out as truth. It's the truth. These folks decided, Deborah Burch decided of St. Mary's County, the clerk, that she was going to stop an African-American female, former employee, from getting her day in court, if you will, through that grievance hearing. And it's a shame, it's a disgrace that they're going to take this truth.
Okay, I got Doc Cheatham on the line. I'm going to play the second half of that interview with Mary Hughes regarding Deborah Mills Burch, the clerk of the court for St. Mary's County, and what was going on there. But Doc, we got Doc Cheatham on the line. Doc, how's it going?
I woke up today, so it's a great day in the neighborhood.
Okay. We got Doc on the line, and Doc, I went over what happened. This clerk of the court was the conference officer. There was a blatant denial of access. Okay, the attorney checked in with information to get. I called their attorney. We're trying to get in on this call. We need the information for the meeting, team meeting. We were not given that information. It was dismissed. And with what's going on in Maryland and all over, what do you think of how black folks are being treated right now?
Well, I'm sad to say that everyone with my skin ain't my kin, and I think that's, one of the problems that we are having. We're seeing people who look like you and me, and they're getting into positions. They don't have a relationship with the people they work with or the people that they represent. And I really think a great disservice is being done to black people by black people. And I think, what needs to be done, we need to publicly pull some of these people up and embarrass them for what they're not doing. I have two elected officials, one named James Torrance, the other named, I forgot the boy's name, it's so bad. But, we got to publicly say what we think and feel about these elected officials that are now in paid positions, and they're really not representing us. They have, as P.M. Smith would say, they don't have a relationship with us. And how do you have someone representing you and they don't have a relationship with you?
Well, in this case, I have her picture up on the screen, and YouTube folks will be able to see it. Now, Deborah Burch is a Caucasian woman from St. Mary's County, and she's a Republican. And I had a phone call conversation with Kathleen Smerrow. Just this morning, I let Kathleen know, look, I'm doing my podcast. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to deep dive this. I was there when it all took place in real time when she denied our attorney access and my wife access to the grievance hearing. Yes, we do believe it's racially motivated. Maybe not all, but there's definitely a large, paramount of racism involved in it. And I spoke with Kathleen Smerrill, and she basically said, well, we're not going to do anything. I'll send you our bylaws, but there's nothing really we can do, and that's it. No comment. I would just simply ask that the Republican Party in the state of Maryland come out with a statement, just a general statement, Doc, to say, look, we don't support racism in any way, form, shape, or fashion. We're against it. We believe everyone should be based on their merit, not their race, the color of their skin, their religion, or nationality, anything, but that's what it should be. And for anyone to use racism and discriminate in taking someone's due process of civil rights, we are adamantly against. There should be some type of statement. What do you think of that, Doc?
Well, I totally concur with you. I think you make some good points, but I think one of the things that we have to do, if it's not an issue of folks representing their own people, then I think those of us that have the intellect and have some finances to help us, pardon the expression, but we need to sue the bastards. I know of no other way to get to people for the injustices they are perpetrating. That's why there's so many court cases going to court and going to even the Supreme Court, that folks have realized, the people are going to do injustice to other people. And, if you have the ability, the intellect, and the funds to do it, the best way to approach it is to sue. I dealt with 3 class action lawsuits. My feeling was the only way you can resolve it, sometimes you see a good fight get in it, but sometimes you can't even fight if you don't sue the people. And I'm just telling folks, we got elected officials, be they black or white, brown or yellow, a Republican, a Democrat, Green Party. If they're doing an injustice to you and the people that you work and live around, then one solution is to sue.
I agree.
And I think we learned that from the mayor of the city of Baltimore. What this guy has done is sued a lot of people. And I think that's the only course of action, because people don't believe in justice anymore. It's just us that's being affected. So I'm saying, folks, no matter where you are, if you're being treated unfairly, if there's any way, shape, and form you can sue them, sue the bastards.
I agree wholeheartedly, Doc. And that, that's taking place as we speak. And there's a Department of Labor investigation as well. I can't really get too much in that. I am my wife's representative in the Department of Labor investigation for the whistleblower complaint firing. We believe wholeheartedly, after she filed a whistleblower complaint about the rats, the clerk of the court, Xavier Conaway, just days later tried to attempt to deny her access in a building where she works, and the floor where the rats were primarily. And he went on the radio, WOLB 1010, the Frank Conaway senior show with Carlton Douglas, went on that show and then stated, there are people out here who are making allegations. And she had filed a complaint just days later regarding the rats, legionnaires, the disgusting bird poop, the ventilation system that hasn't been cleaned out, and so on. And then she filed a whistleblower complaint subsequently after that, when she was put on a 10-day suspension, attacked by a supervisor verbally in the Cummings building, and several other things that happened. And she engaged in a protected activity. And she was attacked. So this is what's going on. Now, Deborah Burch, for whatever reason, and we believe, hey, these white folks are going, wait a second, how dare this woman, black woman, how dare she file a suit? How dare she do an investigation or have an investigation that's done by the Department of Labor? And I believe they said, you know what, we had enough. And that's what I believe. I believe it was racist. Definitely racist.
I think your issues are right, Sean, and I really commend the admirable things that you and your wife have done, because what folks may not know, those clerks that are working around her, she's making it easier for folks to, I guess, unveil the injustices that are taking place. The only thing is that we need more people like your wife and yourself to come forward, because the more of us step forward, we can fight. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. But if you don't fight the injustices, trust me, it's only going to happen again, and it's going to be worse. You know, some of us need to get the mentality and maybe read the work of Martin Luther King and all of those leaders in the past. You know, they decided enough is enough, darn it. You got to stand up and fight, because if you don't fight, as the little girl told her mother, Mom, I had to come out here and fight because you didn't do it. And I'm saying, folks, this is going to happen to you and yours and your family.
Yes.
If you don't stand up when you see injustice.
Yes, it is going to happen. And I sent out a letter to St. Mary's County, some of the delegates there, the clerks of the court, the delegates, state senators, and others regarding Deborah Burch and her actions, and to the Republican Party, to the GOP. So I sent this out and basically said, look, let me explain something to you. Okay, we're actually registered Republicans. I actually was involved in helping and assisting and advising Bob Ehrlich during his campaign. I'm a political strategist. My family has done a lot for this city with my grandfather, the church, our ministries, and so on. And here you are, Republicans, turning on black folks who are Republicans. That is insane to me, that the Republican Party would not stand up and say, look, you don't have to attack Deborah Burch outright or just throw her name outright, but at least make a general statement saying, we're against...
It's about the issue itself.
Exactly, discrimination.
You don't have to make race the overwhelming issue, but you got to make the injustice the issue, because folks, trust me, you know, if we continue to allow people to do any and everything to us, sooner or later it's going to hit you and your family, and then you're going to wonder, who's going to come to rescue me? Well, if you don't help get in fights, as one of the reverends used to say in the neighborhood, you see a good fight, get in it. And I'm saying, folks, if you don't stand up and speak out against and fight against injustice, trust me, 9 chances out of 10, and the justice is going to hit you. And guess what? You're going to turn around and look and see that the people that were standing behind you aren't there, because they are as weak-minded as some of us are. We got to stop being so weak-minded and realize the fight is on, and we need to all fight.
Well, here's something I found interesting when I had this conversation with Kathleen Smero. She's a Smero. She's the second vice chairman of the Maryland Republican Party. I met her at a Republican meeting, Baltimore City Republican Committee meeting, and I said, yes, we're gonna investigate it, look into it. And Doc Cheatham, Marvin Doc Cheatham, he does come on my show. He's a co-host on some of my shows, and she says, Doc, she goes, yes, I've heard that name. What?
Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
I've heard that name. I said, Kathy, this is Doc Cheatham. He was the former president of the NAACP in Baltimore City. You just only heard the name? Is that how out of touch Republicans are in the state of Maryland when it comes to Marvin Doc Cheatham, a civil rights icon? I thought that was odd.
Well, my name is not a common name. It's not well liked by a few. It might be more than a few than a number, but I would say this. I've given over 50 years of my life to helping others, to fight for causes that will benefit other people. I'm not looking for to get paid. I never got paid. I held 3 presidential positions and 3 civil rights organizations. Did not get paid not 1 cent. You know, my mother and father taught me injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and you need to stand up when you see injustices, whether it's black, white, brown, yellow, gay, straight, doesn't matter. If you see an injustice, you need to fight for it. And I really commend you, Sean, and you and your wife, because you've gone the long haul. You've gone that extra mile, and, you know, some punishment comes to you when things like this happen, and we stand up and speak against it. We sometimes get punished. I got punished. I got kicked out of being an appointee of the Democratic Party because I blew the whistle on the mayor of the city of Baltimore for illegal arrest. Well, I won that class action lawsuit. I won it.
Okay.
But I got punished. And some of us will get punished. I'm sad to say. We will get punished. But, you know, let that be like something rolling off of your back. Continue to fight because it does benefit other people.
Well, we're going to continue. The investigations are investigations taking place. The litigation for the lawsuit, discoveries coming up, interrogatories are coming up, and there are people who are going to be in a lot of trouble. I dare say there may be criminal investigations bouncing off of this lawsuit. So
I commend you and your wife, and I'm really sad, and you know that they've gone the extra mile to punish her, to silence her. But somebody had to speak up for injustices, and one of the things that I did today, I called Baltimore County State's Attorney Schellenberger, a young, outstanding attorney that I had some dealings with when I was the state political action chair, and I asked him to intercede and help me to come up with some legislation that we can introduce in the state of Maryland to protect seniors. Seniors that get people that are carjacking and doing injustices to them. Yes, a lot of them are young people that are doing it, but, you know, no one is speaking up for senior citizens. And I'm telling folks, if you're listening to this show that's being done by Sean, who is exposing injustices, find some way, shape, or form to join a fight and fight against injustice. Fight against injustice.
fight, 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 fight. Yes, I'm going to steal that from Trump. Fight against injustices. You're going to get shot at. They're going to come after you. They're going to use dirty tricks, low down dirty dogs that they are. So they're going to do all of that. They're going to lie. They're going to cheat. They're going to backstab. They're going to put your name out to try to make it look like you're a bad person. That's what they're going to do. And other things. But you know what? You are, I'm speaking to everyone right now. You are, if you are, I'm speaking specifically, an American citizen. I'm talking to American citizens. No one or nobody has the right to deny you your civil rights, due process, access to a court, access to a grievance hearing. No one at all. I don't care what color you are, race, creed, color, nationality, religion. You are an American citizen. You are a sovereign. Read the Constitution. And for this person over here, I'm pointing at her, Deborah Burch. Deborah, I had some words for you. Trust and believe. I reached out to Deborah Burch. I sent an email to Deborah Burch because I want your comments as a podcaster. I wanted her comments. Why did you do it? What's going on? She did not reach back. She did not return my phone call because she's an elitist. She feels as though she's better than me, better than you, and that she can do whatever she wants to strip the civil rights and due process from an American citizen. That is a disgrace. The Republican Party needs to come out. They need to say something about racism in America.
And the quote is, the struggle continues.
The struggle continues, and we'll just keep on going. The truth, you can't handle the truth. People can't handle the truth. And I told Kathy Smurrow, who is the second vice chairman of the Maryland Republican Party. I told her, she asked me, you think it has to do with race? And I told her, yes. Yes, I do. My wife does, and everyone who we went over this with, including our attorney, who won't say it, but I know he does, and our attorney, he's African American. He's a black man. So again, you keep these black folks out of a grievance hearing, deny them access. Don't give them the information. That's what was done. So Doc, I know you got to run and everything, and I wanted to have you on to talk about this very, very serious.
I appreciate you reaching out to me. I try to give candid advice and guidance for some, but trust me, folks, sometimes the fight's going to come to your doorstep, and you're going to have to say, do I fight or do I run? And I'm saying at this age, I'll be 75 next month, I continue to fight.
Well, Doc's going to be 75 next month, and I'm joining, at the end of the month, towards the end of the month, I'm joining the 60 Club. So we got, between the two of us, we got a lot of experience under our belt, and we've been through some things. Trust and believe. This is not my first rodeo dealing with racism. But Doc, thanks a lot, and I really appreciate you calling.
People work out, be careful, be careful.
Okay, they need to be careful. Okay, take care, Doc. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, that was Doc Cheatham. He's civil rights icon in Baltimore City. And what I'm going to do is, because we got a little bit of time with the podcast, and I'm going to go ahead and finish playing that interview that I had with Mary Hughes, president of the Friends of Gwynn Falls Parkway. So let me go ahead and cue that up so you can hear the second half of the interview.
Trump administration and what they're doing, hide behind it and use it to go after black folks because they feel empowered to do so.
Amen. That's right. That's right. They now have a platform now. We got our man in the White House. Our man in the White House is going to support us. Our man in the White House is going to all those who went and against the Capitol on that day and stormed the Capitol. Oh, he's going to get them out of jail. All this stuff because this man, whether we want to hear it or not, really is for me, myself, and I, and Eli as well, to make this America white again. It's as simple as that. But that's okay. They're not going to win. They're just not going to win. And let's look at Trump for a minute. So many federal judges have deemed what he's doing wrongful, unlawful, and unconstitutional. People think, he's not going to get away with everything. He's going to get away with some things, but he's not going to get away with everything. That's why you must challenge it. You must challenge it, and that's what's happening here. And here's the deal with your wife. Everything she said, whistleblowing-wise, has hit the press a little bit here, a little bit there. Oh, there are rats there. Oh, there's a problem here. But it hasn't been blown up to the extent that it should. So, with that, she made a stand, and I'm sorry to say that there are not many more, not only in the courthouse or any other agencies, who are not standing up saying this. Just like now we're seeing with the DPW workers are finally coming out and saying things. But for years they said nothing. Nothing. Until two wonderful gentlemen were killed. Alright? And so, and plus, the city council was aware of this. You know this. Now suddenly, we got to do something. You've known it for years. You did nothing until it hit the press and it was so horrific. People saying, what in the world is going on? And the same thing is going to be said here. Why was this allowed to go on? Why was this man allowed to be in this position? And nobody really called him out on what was going on under his watch? And all that's going to come out. They're cowards. They're so cowards. If you go into, he had an opportunity to go into a position, although he probably was not qualified for it, but okay, I'll give him that. Okay. He had an opportunity to make a difference. He had an opportunity to go in there and say, look, things are going to be different now.
Are you talking about Xavier Conway? The people need to understand what you're talking about.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Clerk of the Court for Baltimore City.
He had an opportunity
It's worse than it was under Marilyn Bentley. He's worse.
John is a male ego thing. I'm going to say this. Some men and women as well, but in this situation, this is a male ego thing. You're making me look bad, lady, and I don't appreciate it. Rather than taking this opportunity, as I said before, we're going to make it better, lady. We're going to do this and you're going to help me do it. But you're so thin-skinned, you're so insecure as a man, as a person in charge of something, that you think it's a personal attack on you. That's bad character. That's bad character. You don't look at it that way. You look and say, okay, she has a point here. Let's see what we can do. You attack her because of that, because it's a reflection on you. And that's how I see it. He thought, oh, Tito's is a reflection on me and my leadership. How dare she?
It was a reflection on an environment that she had been in prior to him getting in here.
That's right.
So instead of coming in and making the correction, saying, you know what, let's sit down, let's talk about this. I want my employees to be happy, fulfilled when they come to work. He made it worse. He made it worse.
Yes. And it doesn't make sense. And a black man. Now, I can see if it was a blonde, blue-eyed guy. But here's a black man coming after this one. Like this. And it's not just in certain quarters everywhere. It's all through Baltimore. A couple of people have been fired because they wouldn't go along with the program.
That's what has been happening. It is a disgrace.
It is indeed.
To have this is the heart of this country, to have your pursuit of happiness, life in the pursuit of happiness, to have the Constitution trampled on, and to have an American citizen have their rights snatched from them, to not have their day in court, to be denied access to a grievance hearing, where they were wrongfully terminated, to have their day in court, and to have a Republican white woman in St. Mary's County do this to an African-American employee of 17 years with that type of disrespect and disgrace. It is racial. It is racial discrimination. It is retaliation. It is harassment, and it should not be allowed.
Agreed. And it's not going to be allowed. And not only 17 years, but a person who did her job with excellence. I mean, I don't understand it. Maybe something else that was a trifling employee. But here's a person who did her job with excellence, with pride. And this is who you're going to come after? Come on now. That doesn't make sense. It's just evil, in my opinion. It's pure evil. It is not of God. That's pure evil. Rather than applauding this young lady, saying, okay, I hear you. We got some problems here. Just like you said earlier. Let's try and conquer. Let's find some solutions together. Let's work together to make it right. And even form a committee within your group to say, okay,
That was Mary Hughes' interview, iHeart Radio. If you want to hear the interview, it's even better sound quality. The quality here, probably not the best, but if you go on iHeart Radio, The Outsiders, you can hear the full interview. And yes, the fight will continue. Racism is alive and well. And what really gets me, I'm just going to say it, what really pisses me off is that you have people in the Republican Party who they're taking, I guess they figured, you know what, Trump is in, and now we can, and I'm talking about those racist C words, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about, who figure they're going to go in, look like they just walked off the set of Deliverance, look like they just walked out of a trailer park, and they're going to go in and they're going to hide behind Trump and say, now we can do what we want to these black folks. Oh yeah, we can just deny them that day in court outright. Just don't even give it to them. Don't even give them the access code, the phone numbers. If they go into court, don't give them the address to the courthouse. Don't even tell them what courthouse the trial's going to take place. Because that's what happened. Hiding behind Donald Trump, you dirty, rotten, dirty dogs, to commit racist acts and think it's okay. You give the Republican Party a bad name, and for you Republicans out there who just don't say anything or don't want to say anything or want to hide behind bylaws or hide behind, we can't do nothing. Yes, you can. You can make a general statement. This is not right, any type of racism. People should be judged on their merit. They should be given their due process and civil rights. Donald Trump had his due process and civil rights taken away from him. Remember? They went after Trump, went after everything, and they just ripped and ripped and tore. So he should understand better than anyone else. And I did reach out to Chris Anderson. I haven't heard anything back from Chris Anderson. He's a big wig in the Republican Party. He goes to the White House. He's at the events. I haven't heard anything back. And yes, he's black. So Chris, you need to get in touch with me about this going on. And now I'm going to get to something, because we're going to be deep diving this, and this will continue. But I want to get to something that I'm really happy has happened. The Crisley family, Todd and Julie Crisley, they have been released. They were railroaded from all the information I'm getting in and all the information I received. They were railroaded and had their due process. Looks like they had their due process taken away too. But I want to go to that release of the Crisleys, because I do want to cover this, and then we can end this podcast. But I love the show. My wife loves the show, the Crisleys, and Crisley Knows Best. And we're looking forward to seeing the episodes. But let's go to that interview.
TV star turned convicted felon Todd Crisley was just released from prison after a pardon from President Trump. Let's go back to News Nation's Brian Anton live outside that prison in Pensacola, Florida. Brian, I hear they snuck him out the back.
They did, Elizabeth. I heard a rumor that this was going to happen. You know, this prison is actually controlled by the Navy because it's on a Navy base, and I was told the Navy was going to help them get out through a back, small little entrance. It's hard to even see on the map, but they did it. So Todd Crisley is now out of prison. He's on his way back to Nashville right now. I'm told a lot of the fans who are here don't really realize it yet, so they're going to be disappointed because they wanted to see him come by. His wife, Julie Crisley, I am told, is still in prison right now. In Kentucky. Their son is there, Grayson, their son is there, hoping to get her out sometime soon, hopefully tonight, he says.
It's going to be quite a family reunion for the Crisleys, who still had many years left on those prison sentences before getting...
Well, listen to this.
Yeah?
You say that. Yeah, they haven't seen each other or been able to talk to each other for 2.5 years, which I thought was interesting. They're not allowed to talk on the phone. So it is going to be an interesting reunion.
Wow.
Well, Brian Enton, you've been in touch with Todd Chrisley for years now, from behind bars. He was calling you to complain about the prison conditions inside that pretty minimal security prison there in Pensacola, Florida. But I'm sure if he talks to anybody, it'll be to you. So stay tuned, as they say.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
Okay, now that was Todd Chrisley. I'm going to play what he said when he was released. They had a press conference, and he basically said, well, wait a minute, I was treated differently. The African-American prisoners, they didn't get what I received. I got special treatment. And he came out. The respect I have for Todd Chrisley to come out and say that. And he made it known that, wait a second, these black guys, they got worse treatment. They gave me special treatment, things that they could have given to them, or treatment they could have done, and what could have happened to them in the prison as far as being treated with more dignity. They didn't get that. Todd Chrisley said that. And maybe some folks should learn from that. It's not about black and white, but it is if you got a problem with black folks, if you deny access to a grievance hearing, a whistleblower, wrongful termination, grievance hearing. And Deborah Birch, and for you Republicans that don't want to say anything about it, and whine and cry we can't do nothing about it, want to hide behind bylaws, be complacent, as far as I'm concerned, you're aiding and abetting, and you're fine with it. That's okay with you. That's the Republican Party in the state of Maryland. I'm seriously thinking of leaving the Republican Party in the state of Maryland, getting out of it, because if this is the product, if this is what you are all about, if this is the face of the Republican Party, and you're not going to say anything about it, and you're not going to say anything about racism in general, and this is what you push, and this is what you're behind, black folks in the state of Maryland who are in the Republican Party, for you to stay in the Republican Party, or at least not like I'm doing, seriously thinking about leaving and going to another. I'm not saying go to the Democrats, because what they do as a Christian man is a disgrace to me, what they're about. But to leave the Republican Party, black folks out there, I'm talking to you, who are in the Republican Party, you too, Chris Anderson, you need to take a real closer look at what the Maryland Republican Party is all about. And this is how you're going to act in Maryland, with the way you lose in this state, the way you get your behind kicked up back and forth, because you can't win elections in the state, and because the state delegates and the state senators are a vast majority of Democrat. And this is what you want to do? This is how you're going to win and show the people what you really are? You have shown the people what you really are, and you are showing the people what you really are, unless you come out with a statement. I'm Sean Sims, host of the Outsiders podcast, and I'm going to let everybody know one thing is going to happen, and it's starting to happen now. The dogs are coming out. Light is going to be shown on this. I'm Sean Sims, host of the Outsiders podcast. Take care, God bless, and goodbye.